Indeed, Priyanka, and there's so many global factors at play, the domestic factors at play. You know, we had the trade data come out yesterday, then you look, we've also got IIP as well as the CPI data which comes out today, and of course, inflation at this point of time is a big cue to watch out for. And on a global basis, the QE taper fears are back, and that's not helping any of the emerging market currencies on the outlook as far as any of our currencies are concerned. In fact, let's try and get some more perspective going. Abhishek Goenka, founder and CEO of India Forex Advisors, is joining us today. Abhishek, good morning and thanks so much for joining us. Lot of factors at play and none of them really seem to be working in terms of bringing about some more strength into the Indian currency. What would be the next two things that you will be watching out for?
I think it's always been the Federal Reserve tapering talks, which has been the main driver across the currencies, not only India but all the emerging market currencies. And I still see that the Fed tapering talk is the main driver. Yeah, these data of current account deficit or trade deficit keeps coming out, but then the main focus today in the entire global markets is the Fed tapering. And I personally feel that it should happen somewhere in December or maybe January. Because looking at the US data, the data is extremely good. I mean, if you look at the data of the US GDP or the non-farm payrolls or the ISM manufacturing, non-manufacturing, all the data is extremely good. And the markets are poised towards that. If you look at the markets, the gold is going down, the equity markets are not doing so good. The emerging market currencies, Brazilian, Philippines, Korean, Malaysian, all these currencies are not doing good. In fact, Indian currency, you know, it kind of bottomed at around 61, it seems, and again started going up. Now it's poised towards 64, 64 half, 65 levels in the coming 2 to 3 months possibly, provided it stays below 62 levels in the coming few days. So, you know, looking at the overall scenario, I think the risk on trade is kind of looking off once again and again. The money, if you look at the 10-year bonds, the 10-year bonds are going up in the US. It's 2.75%, which is again signaling that the risk on trade is kind of off from the market. And again, the money is going towards the US dollar and the dollar index, which is again going up towards 81 plus levels. So it looks that the US dollar bull run is again resumed, at least in the medium term.
You know, Abhishek, as we speak about the currency, you got the opening quotes coming in as well. We can see that on your screen. 63.36, 63.37 is where it's quoting it right now. One thing's evident, it's once again been a little bit of a weak trade as far as the currency markets are concerned. There's been a little bit of weakness coming in there. Abhishek, talking about the fundamental reasons to why we've got that move coming in, let me also ask you this. What's the range that you're actually working with on the currency right now? Let's say from a near-term point of view, where do you see the currency hovering around?
So we personally feel that 61 is kind of a bottom. So in the coming 2 to 3 months, we should see a broad range of close to around 61.5 to 65 levels. And any levels which we get on dips should be taken as buying opportunity for the importers or for the long-term loans. I mean, people who have been holding ECBs for long-term, they should be looking at covers at any kind of dips. And exporters, I think, are really comfortable in this market, and above 63 half or something, they should start looking at covering for long-term positions or taking similar kind of an options if needed. So that's the kind of strategy that we are looking at, and a broad range of 61 to 65 for the next 3 to 6 months is what we are looking at with a bearish bias.
Abhishek, I just want to point out one thing. You were mentioning, the market expectations as far as the QE taper and the timeline there is concerned. And Bloomberg sent a very interesting story which says that there is a silver lining in this entire currency story, and that's that India's forex reserves actually rose about $6.7 billion in the month of October. That's probably the highest jump that we've seen in the last 2 years. So now the reserves, as far as the October number is concerned, stand at about $283 billion. Like I said, that's the steepest increase in 2 years. Now, interestingly, Bank of America Merrill Lynch is estimating that the reserves will reach $305 billion by the end of March, and that's of course what the earlier estimate was, that the Fed will start tapering by March 2014, and this is going to help us, that kind of a reserve of $305 billion at that point of time. Of course, it is being driven by concessional dollar swaps window that the RBI governor really announced when he took over as the governor. The facility is due to close on November 30th, and till now has brought in about $17.5 billion. Abhishek, What do you think as far as the forex reserves is concerned when the QE taper begins? How much of what should be the level that we should be ready with to really cater to any kind of currency crisis that takes place? This of course the swaps of $17.5 billion of inflows coming in has helped, but what's the outlook from here on?
See, if you look at the reserves, of course the reserves have gone up, but I'm really not sure that $10-15 billion move in the reserves will it cushion us from the tapering which is going to happen, because when the tapering happens, in what velocity and in what force will it happen, nobody knows. And at the same time, how much money will go out from India? I mean, we are already seeing money going out from the debt markets. I mean, if you look at $8.35 billion worth of money has gone out from the debt markets in India, and even though we have got a significant amount of money in the equity markets. Now, it's very difficult to say that what velocity that the tapering will happen, and if the tapering happens with a very large velocity, then even that $5-10-15 billion of excess reserves will not protect us a lot. So I don't think that just looking at the reserves would be a good idea to understand that how much will be cushioned from the tapering, because we have significant amount of debt repayments by next year March, as we know, close to around $172 billion, out of which some amount will get rolled over probably, but then still I think $80-90 billion is what we have to pay in terms of short-term debt. So I think we need to see in February, March that how does the thing typically shape out, because at one end we have the outflows, at the other end we have the money coming in the recent couple of months time, and the third is the Fed tapering news, which could come anywhere between Jan or March, So we have to see all these things together, and then we have to see what's the kind of demand and supply match in the market, and then we can probably say that whether these kind of reserves are sufficient enough or not.
Abhishek, any quick thought as far as the bond markets are concerned? You were mentioning about that earlier. What's the outlook there?
So I think the bond yields have been going up, and I think it should continue to go up because number one, the Fed tapering on the cards. Number two, we have seen significant amount of money come in the bond markets. And number three is, of course, the inflation data are not expected to be good. So overall, the sentiment in the markets are still a little hawkish when it comes to the interest rates. And I think the bond markets may not correct a lot. So the 10-year bond yield is still expected to go up maybe above 9% plus levels.
All right then, Abhishek, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining in this morning and getting us your perspective on the currency markets as well as the bond markets and what the outlook looks like going forward from here. All right, just a quick mention as to what kind of quotes we're picking up on the pre-open as well.